march and funeral procession for 3 local businesses. The message the unique protest hopes to send to city leaders.
Plus, consumer spending sinks to new lows as inflation worries rise.
It's like anything else, you're just hoping that your costs don't increase more.
How federal orders are increasing fears and what this could mean for you.
And in sports, one Ohio women's basketball player proves she's more than just an athlete. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Allison Patton.
And I'm Lucy Schaefer. Welcome to Newswatch. We have several developing stories to get to tonight, but first, a quick check of the forecast.
Lead forecaster Emily Dietz is in the Weather Center. Emily, the weekend is finally here, but so is some colder weather.
Well, fortunately for us, conditions aren't too cold right now, but you are absolutely right. Things are definitely going to be cooling down this weekend. We've had a pretty blustery day down here in southeast Ohio. We've seen sustained wind speeds of up to about 23 miles an hour with gusts up to about 29 miles an hour. But right now things have started to calm down with gusts at about 24 and our sustained winds at about 9. So that's about average, a little above average from where we usually are. So things are definitely starting to calm down, but at least we have some nice clear skies. Now throughout the state, we are seeing very similar conditions to ours. We are in the mid to upper 50s. But again, as we just said, those things are going to be changing as we move into this weekend. We have a low pressure system developing over the Great Lakes area. And with that, we have a cold front behind it. Now, fortunately for us, this doesn't mean any precipitation, just some cloudy skies. But it does mean a lot of cold air is going to be coming our way as we go into March. So while we're in there, it definitely doesn't feel like it will be in March. We're definitely going to feel like February. So tonight, we're going to see an overnight low of about 32 degrees. Be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast. We're going to talk about what type of weather we can expect next week.
Thanks, Emily. Community members marched through uptown Athens, mourning the loss of 3 small businesses on West Union Street.
The protest calls out Athens city government for disregarding small businesses. Newswatch reporter Reese Thompson was at the event and joins us live in studio.
Reese, what's the message protesters are trying to get across?
Lucy and Allison, protesters say small shops have suffered due to the city government's decision to allow a developer to block the sidewalk accessing those businesses. One of the organizers say the protest demands the city to do more to support local businesses if they want to keep Athens' charm. Marching in New Orleans style with horns and other instruments, protesters made their way from Washington Courthouse to College Green Gateway by the construction site ending in front of the Cool Dig store. The event honored the closure of Cool Dig Shop and other businesses along the strip who say the next door construction led to their shutdown. Cool Dig's owner Sarah Bryant says the city needs to consider the interests of small businesses by opening up the original sidewalk.
Yeah, you can see that they haven't gotten off the sidewalk, so but their sidewalk permit ended on February 28th, and it's just wrong that they don't make them fix the sidewalk.
As Bryant said, the development's permit is set to expire today, but since the construction is still taking up the original sidewalk, she suspects the city will grant the developers another extension, something Bryant has fought since she opened up her shop last year. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Reese Thompson, live in studio.
Thanks, Reese. New tonight, Morgan Local School District Superintendent is stepping down during a critical time for the district. Kristen Barker and the school board agreed she should, quote, pursue other professional opportunities. This decision comes as financial troubles force the district to let go of 16 teachers and cut programs at Morgan High School's Career Technical Center. Barker will be on paid administrative leave starting Monday. Details on why Barker and the school board decided to part ways will be discussed at the next school board meeting in March. WOUB is your source for news in Southeast Ohio. For the latest news across the region, head to our website, woub.org, or download the WOUB app.
The Ohio State University closed 2 offices today focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. This as federal and state leaders attack DEI programs. OSU shut down its Office of Diversity and Inclusion and the Office of Student Life Center for Belonging and Social Change. The university's president says the federal government has signaled its intent to enforce guidance in validating the use of race in a broad range of educational activities. He also mentioned Senate Bill 1, which bans most diversity programs and faculty strikes. The bill currently sits in the House Workforce and Higher Education Committee. A 2-year transportation budget investing billions into the state infrastructure heads to the Ohio Senate. The Ohio House unanimously passed the $11.4 billion budget yesterday. The money would primarily fund road maintenance and construction projects. This budget also includes $25,000 for Ohio to rejoin a coalition of Midwestern states advocating together for passenger rail service. Lawmakers have until the end of March to sign the multi-billion-dollar budget.
A dramatic turn of events at the White House today. A heated exchange between President Donald Trump and Ukraine's president derailing an agreement between the United States and Ukraine.
Julia Benbrook is in Washington with details on what led to Ukraine's president leaving the House early.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived at the White House Friday for high-stakes talks with President Donald Trump about the war in Ukraine. After sitting down in the Oval Office, an astonishing exchange. The two world leaders shouting at one another.
Your country is in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this.
Part of today's goal was to sign an agreement that would give the U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for what Ukraine hoped would be concrete security guarantees.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
It's been 3 years now since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And just a few weeks ago, U.S. leaders held talks with Russian leaders about a peace agreement. But Ukraine was not included in those talks.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way.
Zelensky departed early with no deal and no press conference. Trump posting on social media that Zelensky had, quote, disrespected the United States and was not, quote, ready for peace. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
WOUB has you covered for the latest news here at home and abroad. Tune in Tuesday at 9 p.m. for a PBS News special coverage of Trump's address to a joint session of Congress. Then on Wednesday, tune in to Newswatch at 6:30 for a full recap and reactions.
Hundreds of workers at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have been laid off in the latest rounds of federal job cuts.
About 800 employees were laid off yesterday, and a source close to the agency says even more could be let go today. Some engineers and meteorologists at the National Weather Service appear to be affected, although a source says certain critical positions might have gotten exemptions. Officials worry what this could mean for weather safety.
We're coming into hurricane season. These are the scientists who help figure out where the hurricanes are coming, how severe they're going to be, whether we're going to have an earthquake, whether we're going to have a wildfire.
This could also be the last day for around 77,000 federal workers who took deferred resignations. The Department of Government Efficiency says the firings and resignations are part of an effort to balance the federal budget. But critics worry losing so many employees can affect the government's ability to deliver vital services.
This new round of layoffs comes as a federal judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration's mass firings of probationary workers, ruling the terminations were likely illegal. The judge ordered the Office of Personnel Management to rescind earlier directives that asked more than 24 agencies to identify probationary employees who should be fired. In the ruling, the judge wrote the office doesn't have authority to fire employees at other agencies. The temporary restraining order was sought by unions representing federal workers and only applies to agencies with ties to those plaintiffs. Lawyers for the Trump administration argued the agency didn't order the firings, but rather a review process. Another hearing is expected next month. The Department of Government Efficiency is also facing some legal trouble and may have to start answering questions over its role in the federal government. A federal judge granted a request for limited expedited discovery in a case brought forward by labor unions and other groups trying to stop DOJ from accessing sensitive government data. This order means a DOJ representative will have to answer questions under oath from attorneys for 8 hours. They'll be allowed to ask about DOJ's mission, responsibilities, and leadership structure. It's not known when the hearing will take place.
The Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge cooled as expected last month, but the good news came with a potential red flag for the U.S. economy. Consumers pulled back their spending, the largest in nearly 4 years. Ivan Rodriguez has more on what Americans can expect.
Typically, after the holidays, consumer spending suffers from a hangover in the new year. But newly released Commerce Department data shows consumers pulled back far more in January than economists expected. Spending fell 0.2% from December. Adjusting for inflation, spending sank 0.5%. Those are the biggest monthly drops since February 2021.
And here in the coffee shop, you hear people talking about, are we going to be able to afford to get a car loan? Are we going to be able to afford to buy eggs?
The cost of food, especially eggs, along with energy, pushed up prices for consumers and producers last month.
I think a lot of people, it's like anything else, you're just hoping that your costs don't increase more.
The average cost of a dozen eggs in January was $4.95, almost double the price from a year ago and surpassing a record high, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
As long as you can stabilize your costs and forecast what they're going to be, then you can kind of adjust everything else around it. But when all of a sudden, like the last few years, when it's just like, when you get these massive surges in costs, it's killer.
Certain signals also indicated the economy is softening. GDP growth is slowing, business investment is sluggish, and consumers are growing pessimistic on fears that inflation will pick up, primarily because of President Trump's talks of tariffs, according to various surveys. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Ivan Rodriguez in Atlanta.
According to a White House official, President Trump will soon sign an executive order making English the official language of the United States. This marks the first time an official language was designated on a national level. The order will also rescind a mandate requiring agencies to provide help to people who don't speak English, although the agencies will still be able to do so. Officials say the move was to bring unity to the nation. The U.S. Census Bureau says roughly 80% of American households use English as a primary language.
And we pray for his health, and we pray for his comfort as he deals with what appears to be a pretty serious health crisis.
Coming up, prayers continue to come in from around the world for Pope Francis, the latest on a new medical setback.
And new advancements in artificial intelligence are changing the game for the treatment of rare diseases. More on how AI is helping people around the world.
We're moving into March, but our temperatures still feel like February. Find out what we can expect to see coming up this week.
It's me, Tiffany Aliche, the Budgetnista, and I want to help you get good with money.
Tiffany Aliche is an award-winning teacher of financial education and author of the New York Times best-selling book, Get Good with Money.
I'm going to show you in 10 steps how to reach financial wholeness so you never run out of money. You want to know what those 10 steps are? Yes. I know you do. Join me for Get Good with Money.
Monday at 10:30 on WOUB.
I'm Miranda Esmond-White. In this program, I reveal the 6 simple steps to starting your journey on the fast track to aging backwards. After hearing from many of you who were unsure how to implement the process of aging backwards, I laid out this easy-to-follow formula. I explain how you can increase your energy, reboot your brain, and relieve pain.
Saturday at 9:30 on WOUB.
This is you on the cusp of your next chapter.
It's a passageway into something new.
It just seeps into you.
It's a groundbreaking moment.
We can make it ours.
We're coming out hot. We're starting here. It's definitely going to be a treat for their palate.
What a story.
She had the imagination of a genius.
Each time I go up there, it's the sense of newness.
3, 2, 1.
Showtime.
We're all running.
It's beautiful.
Cherish every moment. Continue to laugh.
We hope you'll join us. There is no going back.
It's time for a new beginning.
Happy Friday. We are ending this week on a pretty windy note, but at least our conditions outside are kind of nice. We're seeing clear skies and our temperatures at about 59 degrees, but those things are going to be cooling as the weekend continues. Right now we're seeing a low pressure system develop over the Great Lakes area, producing a lot of snow, but fortunately for us, we're just going to see some cloudy skies and we're not expecting any precipitation. We do have a cold front sitting right behind this area, and that will be impacting us as we go into this weekend. So unfortunately, even though we're jumping into March, it's not going to feel like it. We're going to see some cold air shift down into the area, and here you can kind of get a look at what we can expect. So even though we're seeing Kansas City at about 71 degrees, as nice as that would be, we unfortunately are going to be down in the 30s. We're going to see a lot of this cold polar air just kind of sink into the area as the weekend carries on. And we're actually going to start seeing that happen tonight as that first cold front moves through the area. We're going to see an overnight low of about 32 degrees. Again, some partially cloudy skies going on. No precipitation is expected for tonight. As we go into tomorrow, though, as we go into tonight, again, that cold front's going to be sitting through the area, and we are looking at a high pressure system beginning to develop up above in near Canada, North Dakota area, and that's going to help further this cold air moving through the region, just kind of pulling down a lot of that cold air down towards the south, leaving us tomorrow with more cloudy skies, a high of 39, so quite a big difference from what we're seeing today, and our overnight conditions at about 19 degrees. So we're not out of those teen overnight conditions just quite yet. Things are still going to be pretty cold. But as we move on into tomorrow and into the weekend, this high pressure is going to continue to develop throughout the area. And what we're going to be keeping an eye on is what's happening down near New Mexico. So as we move into Sunday, again, that high pressure is really dominating the area. We're going to see skies start to clear up and a little bit of that daytime warming, but for the most part, we're still going to see a lot of cold air throughout the area. But we're taking a look at what's happening down near Texas, New Mexico area, because we're going to be seeing this low pressure system begin to develop and pick up through the Great Plains area, stretching through the area, and we're going to be seeing a little warming going on over the next couple of days, but we might also be seeing some weather start to happen on Wednesday. So as we move from Saturday into Sunday, again, cold conditions outside. Monday, we're going to start to see things clear up, and a slow warming is going to happen throughout the week as we see that polar air sort of start to shift away. But then Tuesday night into Wednesday, we see that chance of rain really start to pick up. And Wednesday is when we're looking at our highest chance for any severe weather and thunderstorms that may be going on. And that's also going to be with the passing cold front, which we can see reflected in our Thursday temperatures, about 42 degrees. Well, I love a good thunderstorm, and obviously we're hoping everything stays safe, but we're really getting into those spring rainy conditions outside. So I need to know, do you guys like the spring rain, or do you like more of the spring sunshine?
I love the spring sunshine. What about you?
I'm a big sunshine fan, but I also like to, when I'm sleeping, I like it when there are thunderstorms.
Good, refreshing rain, especially when we wake up in the morning, just everything's so fresh.
Yep, and now you're taking a live look at the Vatican and St. Peter's Square as Catholics from around the world continue to pray for the recovery of Pope Francis.
The Vatican saying the Pope had a medical setback today, suffering a coughing fit which caused him to breathe and vomit. He was placed on a breathing machine after the sudden episode. The Vatican says Pope Francis is still alert and responded well to treatment, but he is not yet out of danger. During the National Catholic Prayer Breakfast, Vice President J.D. Vance spoke in support of the Pope's recovery.
If the Holy Father can hear us, I hope he knows that there are thousands of faithful Catholics in this room and millions of faithful Catholics in this country who are praying for him as he weathers his particular storm.
The 88-year-old pontiff has been battling pneumonia in the hospital for 2 weeks. Because of his continued illness, he will not lead Ash Wednesday service next week.
About 300 million people around the world are living with a rare disease, but new advancements in artificial intelligence are finding new ways to better diagnose and treat those illnesses. Mandy Gaither has more.
They're conditions that often go undiagnosed or untreated. More than 7,000 rare diseases have been identified, and these illnesses can have a significant impact on a person's health and well-being.
It takes sometimes up to 15 years for individuals to get a diagnosis. So thinking about how long you live with just that uncertainty as to what is wrong, whether it's in your family member or in yourself, it's just a real burden.
Dr. Timothy Curry with Mayo Clinic says many times that uncertainty lingers because doctors haven't seen the health problem before, or that issue doesn't fully fit with the condition's clinical characteristics. But he says artificial intelligence is now allowing for large amounts of data to help identify patterns in patients and analyze the entire set of DNA instructions found in a human cell.
Could we look through a large library of genome results along with medications and see if we could repurpose some of those medications? Because most of the time, 95% of the time, these rare diseases right now don't have a treatment.
Curry says these AI advancements are doing something once thought to be impossible. Improvements in diagnoses and the development of new treatments, bringing hope to those trying to help patients living with a rare disease.
It's a super exciting time to be in this area because for the first time we really have tools that allow us to study things in ways we never were able to do.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Next in sports, Ohio women's basketball player Aja Austin is proving she is not just a basketball player with her clothing brand Misfit Mania. Find out more after the break.
We have just 2 shows remaining and only 4 teams left fighting in the playoffs.
Join us Sunday night at 11 p.m. for another week of tournament results and analysis from the TVC.
Yeah, things are getting serious for our remaining teams as they move one step closer to being champions.
And as always, we have more to break down on the Full Court Press, so head to our socials on X, Facebook, and Instagram all week long.
Yeah, we'll catch you next week, but until then, we're reminding you
to be heroic.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
In celebration of Ken Burns' film, The National Parks, America's Best Idea, we take a closer look at the story that inspired a new generation of visitors to these national treasures.
I think the national parks sort of perfectly represent that. We couldn't have done it without a country that was willing to consider new ideas.
Please join me, Peter Coyote, for Ken Burns, The National Parks.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
Aja Austin has always had a love for basketball, but after playing in college for 4 years, Austin wants to be remembered for not just being an athlete, but as an entrepreneur. Aja Austin is one of 5 seniors on the Ohio women's basketball team, but she is more than just an athlete, she is also an entrepreneur. In June of 2024, she started her own clothing brand, Misfit Mania.
The idea for my brand, 2 years ago, I begged my mom and dad for an iPad, and I did a couple designs, but it never really stuck. This summer though, May-ish, I really started taking it serious, and I had my first drop in June.
The meaning behind the name Misfit Mania is very personal to Austin. She wanted her clothes to not just be stylish, but to have a bigger meaning behind the designs. She wants her clothes to be a way for others to express themselves.
The definition I made for my brand is excessive enthusiasm to be different and stand out. As a kid, I didn't really feel like I fit in. That's where the misfit part comes. And then sometimes you feel a bit crazy if you're not like everybody else. So that's where I got the brand name from. I just want to encourage people to express themselves through fashion and through my clothes like how I do.
Even though Austin started her business all by herself, she always had the support of her parents. They have been encouraging her passion for years and helped her grow her brand to where it is today.
So back in May, when she said, I'm going to do this for real, we're like, okay, well, let's go. And her dad is real big on supporting her, getting her into the different festivals and different places where she can get seen.
In under a year, Austin has grown her brand to over 14,000 followers on Instagram. She has also gotten WNBA player Kelsey Mitchell and rapper Quan to model her clothes. Her hard work has not gone unnoticed. Austin was recently nominated and won the OURS Award for Outstanding Entrepreneurship. The OURS organization focuses on helping multicultural students feel welcomed at Ohio University.
Known as Ohio University Recruiting Society, and we focus on students here around campus, multicultural students, and welcoming multicultural students into Ohio University and giving them a welcoming environment so they're comfortable when they first come to school.
One message that has stuck with Austin is more than an athlete. She is proving that athletes have talents and skills outside of their sport.
It's really important to me now that I know who I am, like with or without basketball. I think it's important for all athletes to know that your worth doesn't depend on how you play or how good you're doing.
With graduation rapidly approaching, Austin is looking to keep her business going. Her end goal is to take Misfit Mania global. Aja Austin is proving every day that she is more than just an athlete. With just 2 games left in the Ohio women's basketball season, Austin will look to keep her brand going as she has a drop on March 14th. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Evan Johnson in studio.
Thanks, Evan. Still ahead, a new discovery in Pompeii is giving us new insights into ancient Roman life. What secrets this 2,000-year-old painting is revealing.
President Trump is off to an astonishing start and has Congress in his corner.
What we're doing is delivering on the mandate that the American people gave us.
But Democrats are pushing back.
It's unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American.
We are going to fight in every way we can.
What are the president's next plans for the American people?
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Stop skimming.
Stop scrolling.
Just listen.
100 years ago today, they walked away from the
All you need
in one place.
every afternoon.
Los Angeles, I fell in love with pinball 6 or 7 years ago.
All things considered from NPR.
Derby 2297.
A little showmanship could be in order.
Will you look at that?
I think it's marvelous.
My name's Eliza Scarlett.
Are we ready?
Well, I'll see what I can do.
Jane Austen.
My sister. Her adventures will be magnificent.
I want him to get the chance to change the map of the world.
The gentle storytelling and picturesque setting of All Creatures Great and Small on Masterpiece continue to enchant PBS viewers. In a new special, we'll discuss the warm, folksy wisdom found in these timeless tales. We'll hear from the cast and creators of the show, and also local residents, including the daughter and son of the author. Join us for All Creatures Great and Small, the wisdom of the Dales.
Sunday at 8:30 on WOUB.
A new discovery in the ruins of Pompeii has given archaeologists a glimpse of ancient Rome's wilder side. The megalography, or painting with life-size figures, dates back to the 1st century BC. The painting was found in what was once a banquet hall and depicts the procession of Dionysus, the Greek god of wine. At the center is a woman about to be initiated into the mysteries of Dionysus, an ancient ritual using intoxicants to remove inhibitions. Finally tonight, there is breaking news in the world of preschool entertainment. Peppa Pig will soon be a big sister again.
Mummy Pig's big reveal came in an exclusive interview Thursday on the daytime show Good Morning Britain. She revealed that the new edition is due this summer. The animated series first aired in Britain in 2004 and premiered in the United States the following year. Today, it's broadcast in 180 countries and dubbed in more than 40 languages. It even has its own theme park, Peppa Pig, in Hampshire, England. Now, I know Peppa loves to play in muddy puddles, so are we going to see any anytime soon?
Well, fortunately, we are going to be seeing some this upcoming Tuesday night into Wednesday. So this weekend is going to be a bit on the cooler side of things. We're going to be in the 30s. But as we go into Monday and Tuesday, we're going to see a slow warming, and we're expecting some even thunderstorms and possibly severe weather on Wednesday. So we're going to keep you up to date as this week continues.
Well, that does it for our broadcast. Thank you for watching.
Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour. Coming up next, have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived.